Okay. Hi, I'm Chad Neal, and today I'd like to review Children of Eden, a book written by YouTube personality Joey Graceffa. I had very, very low expectations going into this book because it was written by a YouTube personality, someone that spent a lot of time showing, doing videos on all the various ways they can fill their bathtub with things from bath jellies to slime to cereal, and just being like, really? This person is going to write a best selling science fiction novel? Okay. Okay. Try. Go on. I'll play along. And I was surprised. I enjoyed his novel. Um, it was good. The main character, Rowan, is very, very likable. Uh, she feels like a real person going through her adolescent experience. She's a 16-year-old girl trying to figure out who she is in the world. I enjoyed going through this journey with her. The story is set in a dystopian like future where the planet Earth is basically no longer inhabitable. And except for this small colony, there's no life on Earth. So Rowan lives in this colony, but the colony has a one child policy. So that if a family has more than one child, that second child is either terminated or enslaved, or the book goes into it. You're just not allowed to have that second kid. Rowan is the second kid, and she lives in hiding within her family's house. So she's never really been exposed to her society at large. She's just been able to get what she gets from from I guess the internet version of whatever they have, and I guess the local news. She interacts with her family, but she doesn't interact with the population at large, and it's kind of driving her a little bit stir crazy. She needs to get out. She needs to experience the world, and the story kind of takes place basically the day before she decides, I've had enough. I'm getting out there. I'm going to see what's happening. I don't care if I get caught. I'm going to try and not get caught, but I have to be part of a larger world than just my family household. And the story goes from there, where she goes on this adventure, or she not even goes on, she begins this adventure that has all kind of unforeseen consequences, and you learn about the society that she lives in, but you also learn that some of the things that the people believe within her society don't really make a lot of sense. They've been living in this place for over 200 years, and and they're just kind of like stuck in, I guess, a systematic way of living that disregards a lot of the human experience for certain individuals in their population. And Rowan, she questions this. She meets others that question these values and this way of looking at the world, and they help each other out throughout her adventure. And it's kind of interesting because you're left very interested in this world that she lives in and how it functions and why it functions the way it does. There's just so much going on in this story that makes you question a lot of the way we as humans look at the world around us, when we look at ourselves and when we look at the world at larger, and asking the question of, is this really the way it has to be, or is there a better way, and are we doing things this way because that's what we've been taught, and could we do things differently if we had full information, and would we do things differently if we had full information? And you're kind of on this quest with her as she discovers both herself and the society around her, and it's interesting. It's very interesting. It's a great story for conversational topics about not just the story, but about economics, about the environment, about social structures. It's surprisingly really well written, which is why I think it's a great read for young adults who are just looking for a good story to engage with and to take something away from. So if you're not sure whether or not to buy this book or read this book because you're not sure about a YouTube personality's ability to write a good book that's engaging and forces people to ask themselves questions about how they perceive the world around them, this book actually goes there, and it does it in a good way. Like, I guess is the best way I can think of off the top of my head. It goes into a lot of those issues, and it gets you to start thinking about them, but it keeps the story moving, and I think it's just a good read for young adults in general. I think you'll enjoy the book, you'll enjoy the perspective. I think Joey did a great job of creating the character of Rowan, which is really the center point of this story. She really does feel like a real person going through this ridiculous situation of an existence and trying to make the best of it and trying to figure out where she fits in it all. Um, I I enjoyed the beginning of the book. I was a little iffy at some of the midpoint parts of the book, but the ending of the book, I was once again right back on track with Rowan and going through everything and just being like, oh my god, he needs to write the sequel to this book. I need to know what happens because she's an interesting character. It's an interesting world he's created. It's very well developed as far as a book goes in terms of creating a world where you really feel like you can feel the world she lives in. Like, so I really give it props for that, and I hope other people go and check it out. So I'm Chad Neal, and I'll see you next time.